good morning or good afternoon, depending on when you guys watch this. But I just got a call. Gentleman was having some noises up on the top end of a Caterpillar engine. He said it was an A-cert. I'm not quite sure what A-cert or if it's just a C15. So we're going to go look at the top end, make sure we don't got any cam damages or a rocker come loose or broke a spring. And then while we're in there, we're just going to go ahead and perform an overhead on the truck. And I'll give you guys some highlights on doing an overhead on a Caterpillar engine of that series. So we'll just keep it up. And oh, by the way, you can see me all dressed up quite warm wise. As yesterday got up to 65, and today it's going to get a high of 25. Gotta love Nebraska. Hello, this is John. Okay, this is what we got here. We got a Caterpillar. Don't know if you guys can see it. There's it right there. It is a 475 horse cat, as you can tell. They're a rather large and durable engine. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the valve covers, pull the intake off, pull possibly the rocker box cover off, and then get inside there and start rotating the engine over to perform the overhead. The other thing is we got to look at is right over here, right down there. I don't know if you guys can see it where my hand is. Here's where you place your turning tool, right down here. Now it looks like my turning tool will fit inside there with a ratchet on the end, so I don't have to remove the exhaust. But that is always an option that you have to play out when doing these, because 9 times out of 10 you have to remove the exhaust, get the turning tool in there, which ain't no big deal. Just something I like to place into place. And as you can tell, the timing marks are still on the harmonic balancer and the tools there. But I've got a different way I do these. I center up each cylinder TDC. It seems to free up about 5 to 10 extra horses out of the engine and smooths them up, gives a little better longevity to it. Some guys here with the cat forms are going to be like, well, you need to turn it here and you need to turn it here and turn it there to get it to perform correctly. I do it this way. Yes, it takes me about 10 extra minutes doing it this way, but 10 extra minutes for 5 to 10 extra horses and to smooth up the engine. Really worth it. And yes, what I'm saying, we've actually documented this on dynos. It's just a little time consuming to do it this way. Okay, thank you much. Well, hello, this is John, and when you go to do these overheads on these cats, it's very important that you have one of these. A lot of guys probably don't know what this is. This is a cat turning tool. This is a cat turning tool. The number on this tool is a 9S9082. And that is a tool sold by Caterpillar. That is a Caterpillar number for the tool. So if you guys want to get into this field, you guys will need one of those. Cat turning tool into the engine. There is a port right down there. You can see where the ratchet's attached to. There is 2 bolts that you remove a plate. You remove that plate and those bolts. Like I said, I like to remove the exhaust, give myself a little bit more room. But you get down in there, and now you can bar the motor over and do it. But on that notion, I also have another trick I'll show you guys in a second after I get the caps off of it and show you how we line up the engine with TDC. Well, hello, this is John. I don't know if you can see me right here. Okay, you can. Okay, what we got here is this the exhaust side. I like to set these to 30. Once you get them set to there, which I had to loosen it, which when you do an overhead, it's always just a good idea just to loosen them, you know, because you're going to have to eventually. I also like to back the jake off just to ensure that we don't have any falsified readings. Let's get our nut kind of secured. Okay, once that's got a little bit of tension on it, on the nut, back that off. Right there, that Allen, which the nut is a 9/16 and the Allen is a 3/16. Let's back those off until we can get just a little bit of tension on that filler gauge. Once we get that little bit of tension on that filler gauge, you will feel it start to get snugged. And once that starts to get snugged, we don't want to go too much. We just want it where you can still pull it out if you need to and push it around with just a little bit of drag on it. The more and more you do these, the more you'll get for a feel of them, which this is what takes the longest part of it. It's just getting that set up just right, which I'm probably a little pickier than a lot of guys. I like to have it where it's right on the gnat's ass perfect. Okay, so we got that right. A little bit more. A little bit more. And that's too much, just off, just a pinch. I got everything kind of set where I can pull that in and out. So I'll set my Allen on there. Make sure it doesn't twist on me. Double check the measurement one more time. You'll have good luck if you take your finger behind the little knob in there, or behind your, I call them a cap. I don't know what the correct name is for them. But after you can do that, then you go ahead and let's go off to the injector, or not the injector, but the jake. Now, the jake should be theoretically deflated. Engine hasn't been running. So now we take our filler gauge here. Let's get up under there. Now I won't give you the readings that I run on the jakes, due to the fact that that's kind of a in-house secret for me, because I'm running a little bit different measurement than what Cat suggests. But I was up in the mountains in Northern California, and if any of you guys have been up there, you know a jake's a very important thing on a truck. So I like to make sure they work a little bit better than what they would from factory. And you can get that by just basically tuning it with a little bit of less or extra filler gauge, kind of where you want to go with that. Now that is a 3/4 nut, lockdown nut, and a 3/8 adjustment nut on there. Now those are torqued, so don't think that I'm not torquing these. I will go over, but for the purpose of the video, just to make it quick, I'm just going to go ahead and snug that up. Make sure that's tight. Like I said before, you want it tight. You don't want this stuff coming loose on you going down the highway. A lot of moving stuff there. So let's give it a little bit more. Okay. And that should be good. We don't want to over tighten, strip it out, especially due to the fact I gotta go back over here and torque this one because I'm picky. There's the filler gauge. I won't tell you what size it is. I'll let you guys kind of do your own discussion to see what I did on there. Now I'm gonna go to the intake, which the intake I already did. The intake is a 15. Exhaust is 30, intake's 15. And I won't tell you what I set the jake to. After I get that done, I'll go back over. And no, it's not what Cat says. I'll go back over, rotate it 6 times, and I'll set the injectors individually. But I gotta look at them, see where they are, because I'm kind of picky on those too. Because every bit of performance you can squeeze out of one of these engines, the better. and the more balanced it is. My cat engines, I like to be able to stick a cup of coffee on them, count the ripples from the injection fire. John, so, there you guys go. When I go to tighten down the valve covers, right there, I like to use the X pattern to tighten them down. And I kind of do something that's probably unique to me, is I do a tool count. In my service truck, I have an area where everything comes out, and I put it on the back of the gate. I don't close any doors. I keep everything to that point, so it's a reminder, hey, look, there was something that went in there. Second of all, like I said, I do a tool count to make sure that everything that I brought out goes back in the truck. For one, it saves me money, so I'm not losing tools. Two, you do not want to lose a tool in a $70,000 engine. That could ruin your weekend. The tools were used for this job. First off, I got my filler gauges here to check the tolerances. I got a breaker bar with a 3/8, which the Mako tool cap does for that, but this is, well, relatively cheaper. A little clean out pick. I use that for cleaning out the debris inside the clean out hole. I use a marking pen. Everything I do, I mark it just to make sure it got done. 3/4 inch wrench for busting the Jake's loose, screwdriver for obviously unscrewing the hose clamps, 9/16 ratchet for removing the valve cover with a little extension right there. You will need that on the back side. A pick for removing the hoses. I keep 2 9/16 wrenches when I come out and do something like this. For one basic simple principle and OCD wise, one wrench removes the cover on the outside. The other wrench, you need your Allens. You're going to need a 3/16 Allen and a 1/4 inch Allen. 3/16 for your exhaust and intake exhaust and intake rockers, adjustment nuts. 1/4 for your injectors. For torquing things down, I use a 9/16 crow's foot and a 3/4 crow's foot. Obviously your overpriced snap-on torque wrench, but I shouldn't say overpriced. I've had this wrench for many years and it's made me a ton of money. The 1/2 inch ratchet with a good size handle that will go into your Caterpillar tool here for turning the crank over, or turning tool. Then I got one of those. A lot of you guys probably are watching this probably don't remember. When I was younger and the E models first came out, they had a problem with the cams coming apart on them, and so every time I do a Cat C15 E model A cert, always bring that in. I check the lift on the rockers to make sure they're up to the par. Then I also will do a rolling check on the cam, and because I'm really seriously OCD, I also check for any cam wear inside the head while I got it open, and also in the night player. I want to make sure it's within its readings. It's just something I do just to make sure, because a rocker system that seems like it's out might not be out of adjustment. It could be a bad cam bearing or bad cam, something in that nature. But on that notion, I'll let you guys go. I'm gonna go ahead and start this up and make sure everything works. That's looking pretty good.